establishment, and the instructor's saying, right, we need the bass drum to bang the drum because that's what they're listening to. And after a rehearsal with the band, they all say that the troops are just marching so much smarter, and they're marching with a lot of pride. And they're hearing the bass drum, of course they are, but the music and all the sound together just makes them just that much more proud. And then, of course, the pinnacle, I think, is Sandhurst. It's the Sovereign's Parade at Sandhurst. So always have a good band, a large band at Sandhurst performing on the steps, and you're involved in the rehearsals, a huge audience. As a director of music, it's quite a big job to do because you're controlling a lot of the elements of the parade, and you're doing the quick march past, you're doing the slow march past. And the young officers that are there have been training for several weeks, and it's absolutely fantastic. And I bet you there's a lot of tears in the audience from the parents watching that. And you know, look at a film without music, and then you hear that track, that sad moment, and that's the sort of effect that we achieved. Long-winded answer.
What about the future then? You know, you're involved in it in some capacity. What do you feel about the loss of Kneller Hall, you know, as an institution, even if the musical training will still persist? You know, the words, this sort of institution.
That's a very good question. I mean, Kneller Hall's been part of my military career for 28 years, and there's many more people that have served at Kneller Hall longer than I have, and have been either in the Corps or in military music for a lot longer than I have, so we'll be able to echo what my thoughts are there. We know the building very, very well. We know every single nook and cranny. If you've been on your student bandmasters course, you've cleaned it enough times. I'm personally heavily involved with the museum, which was a collection when we started, and now it's a fully functioning museum, and we're very, very proud of that. We're also concerned about what's going to happen to Kneller Hall in the future if we do leave it, which we hope it's not going to happen, but it's common knowledge that it is on the cards that that's going to happen. So that's a shame for the community, because of course we do provide some sort of economy to the local area, and we have people that live in the local area, and we also have members of Kneller Hall whose children go to the local schools, so we're heavily involved in that. But you know, money's tight, and the actual training element will either be as good or better, because people will do their jobs and make sure that facility is provided. And I think, you know, to sum up, I think it's a great shame, and we'd be very, very sorry to see it go. But to be interested to see when that actually does happen. And I hope that I get another job at Kneller Hall as a staff officer before it goes. Otherwise, I've actually missed that opportunity in my career, which is for somebody as a major serving for Camas. It's quite rare that I haven't actually done a staff job there yet, so I'll be quite looking forward to do that.
But when do you retire then? How long have you got?
So I've got another 11 years left, because I don't retire till I'm 55, but so I'm bound to do a couple of years at Kneller Hall as a staff officer at some stage. But I don't know where I go from here. I might go straight there from here.
How much longer here?
Oh, I've got 2 years to do here. I've only just got here, so I've got 2 years to do.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Still play?
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, as a hobby, I still play. The last band I was in, the Prince of Wales Division band, where I was director of music. I played with them quite a bit, to be honest, just because I was jealous that guys were playing, and I hadn't played for a while, so I played with them for a bit. Playing is all about what you want to get out of it, and even though I'm conducting bands as a hobby as well, if you want to be a good player, then you've got to practice a lot. And my feeling is, unless you can actually do the job well, I don't want to particularly do it, because I want to be proud of what I can produce as a musician, so I have to practice. And unfortunately, not all the time. If you practice the amount I want to practice, and go to the gym, and do your job, and get to see your family, you need more than 24 hours in a day, and that is just the sad fact. So the last time I performed was earlier this year. When I was at Staff College, I performed in front of my peers there, and played in a rock band, and I played the trumpet. So I'm still playing, I'm still wanting to play. I'd like to get up and play the post horn every now and again as a little bit of a party piece at a dinner, and the band donated a post horn to me when I left, knowing full well that that's what I'd want to do, so I could get up on the tables and play the post horn. But to play to any sort of decent level, I think I've got to wait a couple more years if I can clear some white space in my diary, unfortunately.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't think I've got anything else to ask you, sir. Is there anything else you want to add?
Not that I can think of.
What was your last posting then? So when's the last time you've been overseas?
In what capacity?
Well, with Camus just doing some music, or?
Camus Music was, yeah, actually it was Georgia.
South Atlantic?
No.
Oh, Georgia and Russia?
Georgia, South Caucasus, yeah. So, do you want to know about that?
Yeah, that was a bit interesting.
Okay, so 5 trips to Georgia in 3 years. I got to know the band there very well. Same sort of mission, if you like, as the Balkans, where we were giving them advice. Of course, it doesn't take much to realise who their adversaries are. So we're heavily involved with that country. A lot of exercises going on there. But they wanted a Georgian national piece of music, and they wanted their military band to perform it. Think about Tbilissi's musical heritage there is very, very important, because the likes of Tchaikovsky studied and composed at the university, and other very famous Russian composers. So a lot of that legacy is left behind, and Georgia wanted a national piece of music that was Georgian, specific folk music to Georgia. So they put a competition on and the president put a competition on for a local piece of music to be played by the military band that was sanctioned by the president and was to be adopted by the president. So I was invited to go across to adjudicate the competition with some professors from their academy. When we arrived, they had 50 entrants, and we needed to get them down to 5, and then the military band were going to perform these 5 pieces of music, and then we were going to whittle it down to 3, and then perform them again in the afternoon, select one, and then make a big deal, and it was going to be performed that Thursday for their 25-year of independence parade, a big televised event. Anyway, to cut a long story short, none of the pieces, the only piece that was worthy of playing, unfortunately, was written by somebody who didn't have any Georgian folk heritage, so they didn't want the piece to be selected. So they asked me to write a piece. So on the Monday, I stayed up all night and wrote a piece of music, put it in front of the band on the Tuesday, rehearsed it, and then Tuesday night made some changes. Then I sent the piece of music back to the UK, said, look, we've got to play this on TV on the Thursday. So I sent it back to my military band. They played it around with it, made a couple of edits, sent it back, complete piece of music, rehearsed it on the Wednesday, performed it on the Thursday. So it was a big project. And then I went back in October, so that was in the May, went back in October, year before last it would have been, and donated it to the president live on television. So gave him a presentation score, shook his hand, and the band performed it. And then donated it to him. That was a pretty big moment. That's pretty cool stuff.
You get the freedom of the Caucasus.
Yeah, I don't know, but it wasn't about that. It's all part of the job of us being involved in defence engagement activities, and it's a massive role within the British Army, and there's certain brigades that are involved in this sort of activity at the moment. And my brigade, 160 Brigade, owned that area, if you like, so that's why I was asked to go and do that project. And we've sent musicians out since. One of the Rifles regiments, they've got a reserve band based down in Exeter, and they've got a great relationship with Georgia and Albania, and Azerbaijan's also on the list as well, and there's a lot of conflict in that area, so there's lots of military band activity going on that people aren't aware about, but it's not private information, it's very much public information. We want people to know that we're out doing these sort of activities, but getting partnerships and playing for events and getting senior people to shake hands, that sort of thing, it's a very important role that we do nowadays. Hearts and Minds. Hearts and Minds. It's not their national anthem, no way, but it's a piece of music they play to, like, every event. It's based on a folk song. So we did some research, and I had a conversation with a lady who was a folk song composer, and she said, you can't use that, that's in copyright, you can use this is public, blah, 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 this is this tune, this is this tune. The problem was that they were in 3 time meter, not in 2, nothing was in 2 meter, you need 2 meter because you've got 2 feet to march to, you can't really march to 3, you have to march to something that's in 2. So I just changed it, but used that as the basis. And then I played it in front of them and said, what tune's that? And they all laughed and said,